Aubrey. How's your day going?
Excellent. How are you, Jessica?
I'm great. I'm really good. It's a sunny day. I get to make some art this weekend.
Mm.
Life in general is looking up.
Nice. Life is good. And I'm excited for this episode. You guys, this is going to be super, super helpful. We know that a lot of you out there, writing is where you struggle. And we got a question asking for a model task one essay. So we are going to deliver here on the podcast today.
Yeah. So we actually read this question a few weeks ago, guys. If you missed IELTS 1322 sample band 9 talented task 2 essay, that's a mouthful, that title. But scroll up, guys. It was 4 episodes ago. Scroll up and listen to that because that is where you will get the model task 2 essay. Today, we're doing task 1. So, one more time, let's read this question though.
Okay, perfect. Hey there, how's it going? Can you provide us with a model answer for task one and task two, especially with difficult types of them? I think that'll be far greater both for us and you because that's a good idea. I like
I
this.
love that. It is a good idea.
I know it's really fun. It's like this will be great for your podcast and
I
also
know.
for us. I'm like, hey, win-win.
That's awesome. All right, very cool. So, we actually found a model task 1 essay. It's a band 9 sample essay from our 3 Keys IELTS course. And so we're going to share that with you and talk through why it is so high scoring. So, today is a jam-packed amazing episode, guys. Let's describe the question first. So, the listener did ask for difficult ones, right? And this qualifies as difficult. Anything that is an academic task 1 static question, a table with loads of numbers and so much information, that stuff is so hard to organize.
Absolutely, right? When you imagine a chart where you have lines, that's kind of obvious what's decreasing. That's so much easier to get your mind around than a
Mhm.
table full of information where you almost feel like you need to take several minutes and draw a line chart. You don't have time for that, right? We have strategies so that you can very quickly look at this table and figure out how to organize a task one academic essay.
So the table that we will share the essay for today, it is a table showing tourists in Mexico. All right. So we're not going to describe every number, guys, but just to give you an overview of what you would see on this question, there are 3 columns, right? We have countries, and then we have number of visitors, and then we have average length of stay. All right. So there's 3 kinds of information happening here. And then we have one, two, three, four, five, six. We have 6 countries that we are giving these numbers for. So, guys, you can imagine there is a lot of information on here. So, according to the 3 Keys IELTS system, how would we organize this? How do we even begin to organize this?
Yeah, your first step is to divide the information in half because you are going to write 2 body paragraphs and you want it to be very clear both to you and to the examiner how you have organized the information. So you want to look at the chart and figure out the clearest, simplest way to separate this information into 2 groups.
Exactly. So all we do is draw a line between 2 groups, okay? In this case, guys, if we have 3 columns, but we have 6 rows, the 6 rows are the countries. Don't organize it by country. That is too complicated. That's a bad idea. Choose the simplest way. So we're going to draw the line between number of visitors and average length of stay. So paragraph 2 will be all of the key numbers regarding the amount of visitors from each country. And paragraph 3 will be only the key numbers for the length of stay for each country. So we have to have it this simple and this direct and obvious as to what these 2 groups are. So that's the 3 key strategy, guys. We choose the simplest way to draw a line on the graph itself to organize it into 2 groups of information.
And then Jessica mentioned key numbers. Your next step is to figure out what are the key numbers that must be included in the essay. You do not include every number from these charts in your essay. You have to show the examiner that you can decide what is the most important information. So you want to circle the highest, second highest, and lowest from these two columns. And that is what you will include in your body paragraphs. And then if there's anything else that's really an outlier, really interesting or impressive, you want to
Yeah.
include that as well.
Exactly. All right, so let's get into this essay, guys. I'm going to read the introduction and then we will briefly explain why it's so good. All right. The graph provided illustrates data about travelers to Mexico from 6 different countries in 2015. Overall, the most impressive number of visitors was from the United States, while tourists from Italy and Spain stayed the most nights. All right, let's break this down quickly. Now, why is this such an awesome introduction?
Yeah, a few important things that we're doing here that you guys need to do on test day. That first sentence, you're just restating what's in the topic, right? Very general. Don't use direct phrases from the topic. You want to state this in
From the
your own
question.
words.
Mhm.
And then this overall trend, which is absolutely vital for your task score. And here we have overall, and we're sharing the most impressive numbers, the highest numbers from these two columns. This is what is the most important information. And notice there are no specific numbers or dates in this overall trend. It's an overall look at the information here. So you don't include any of that specific information. Reserve all of that for the body paragraphs.
Exactly. So all we're doing in the overall trend is just saying, overall, these are the highest numbers. All right, let's move on to the body paragraphs. Now, every task one essay will only have 3 paragraphs: the introduction paragraph, which we just read, and then 2 body paragraphs. Each body paragraph is about one group of numbers. So we told you how to organize that already. Paragraph 2 will be about the number of tourists, and paragraph 3 will be about the length of stay. So, Aubrey, can you read paragraph 2, please?
Yes. As stated, in 2015, the most massive quantity of tourists with Mexico as a destination flew in from the US with a whopping 734,234. The country with the second most significant amount was the UK with 456,084. Coming up with the most meager amount of tourists choosing Mexico as their destination was Italy with a paltry 51,374.
All right. So notice, guys, we only have 3 numbers in that whole paragraph because those are the only important numbers. Okay. Highest, second highest, lowest. Also, notice the vocabulary to describe the numbers. This is straight from Three Keys IELTS, guys. We have most massive, most significant, most meager. And we're always labeling the numbers, right? We come back in the last sentence and say the most meager amount of tourists choosing Mexico as their destination. We don't lose the number, we don't lose the meaning of those numbers, right? So that is the most important thing to learn, I think, from that second paragraph. Also, the linking phrases, right? We start with a transition phrase, as stated in 2015, the most massive quantity. We can say as stated because we said that in the overall trend, right? That the US is the highest number there.
Yeah,
Um,
this is one thing that I see students missing a lot is not starting these body paragraphs with a linking phrase that introduces what you are discussing in this paragraph, right? You have it in the overall trend. Use a linking phrase to make it really clear to the examiner right off the bat the information you're going to discuss in this paragraph.
exactly. All right. Now, moving on to the final paragraph, the third paragraph, which is about that last column, the average length of stay. Aubrey, can you read that, please?
Sure. There is no correlation with the amount of visitors. In fact, there was a tie for the countries whose citizens stayed the longest, as Spanish and Italian people, on average, chose to stay for 14 nights. Interestingly, there was also a tie for second place, with China and Canada claiming that spot at 12 nights. Most surprisingly, visitors from the United States, although traveling to Mexico in the most considerable quantities, actually stayed the fewest number of nights at a mere 7.
All right, awesome. So, again, guys, you can see how we are directly and clearly labeling each number. If you just take away one thing from today's episode, guys, I want you to take this away because in fact, I just had a VIP class with a student this morning and reminded her of how important this is. For every number you put in your essay, you have to directly and obviously tell the examiner why it's there, because it's the biggest, because it's the smallest, because it's super interesting. But really notice how directly every number is labeled, right? Um, so we say whose citizen stayed the longest, and then we label the next one tie for second place. You know, this is the second highest. And then actually stayed the fewest number of nights, so we know that's the lowest number. So guys, if that again is the one thing you learned today, remember that in your academic task one essays, for every single number that you put in there, you have to tell the examiner why it is a key number.
One of the reasons we chose this model essay is because the student who wrote in asked for one of the most difficult types of essays to write about on test day. And when you have numbers that are the same, several numbers that are the same, this does make it more difficult. You can't say the highest number was such and then new sentence. So and so was also the highest number, right? You
Yeah.
have to do this in a way that makes sense. So these phrases we've shared here are the perfect way to share when numbers are tied.
Awesome. Awesome. So, guys, if you want to learn all the strategies and vocabulary you need for every type of task one question and task two, check out Three Keys IELTS, guys. It is lifetime access. So, get started now. So, whenever your exam is, you will be sure to be cool, calm, and confident. So, go to allearsenglish.com/KEYS. And if you have a question that you would like us to answer on the show, you can write in support at allearsenglish.com.
Yes, and guys, once you are in the course, we have a few items that options, packages that you could get, which are so amazing. One of them is our score killers, which once you're a student in the three keys course, then you have the option of getting these. There are certain things that so many students do, which just really kill your score. For task one here, really specific things for general essays, not sharing two details per bullet and formal versus informal vocabulary. For an academic task one, issues with the overall trend, sharing numbers, some of the things we shared today. We dive in really deep, share examples, and help you learn how to avoid these really awful score killers. So once you're a student in Three Keys, you can get these score killers. So go to allearsenglish.com/keys.
Awesome. All right, guys, that's it for us and for IELTS this week, but we'll be back next Tuesday.
Awesome. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.